here in White Memorial. This meeting is being recorded. If your president wants to speak, please come to the podium, state your name and address, and speak directly towards the microphone the entire time you're addressing the governing body. We also have some speakers and interested individuals joining the meeting via video or teleconference using the Zoom platform as published in our meeting notification. If you are in our Zoom audience, please keep your microphone muted. For those who are wanting to comment, please do the following. For those joining us via the Zoom app or through your computer, please click on the raise hand button. For those joining us through the call-in feature, please press *9. This will notify our moderator, Mr. Randy Dunster, that we have a comment from one of our virtual attendees, and he will let me know that you wish to speak. I will then have him unmute you. When you speak, also please state your name and address. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have 3 items raised this evening. One is to approve the minutes from the August 4th, 2025 City Council meeting. Second, to approve the report of new claims and approve the disposition of claims set for the period of August 5th, 2025 to August 18th, 2025. And third, to approve the Board of Public Works recommendation to purchase a pump assembly for pumps number 4 and 5 in the amount of $86,267. So an item which commission would like programs to do this type of some discussion. This time I move for passage all 3 consent items.
Commissioner Whalen? Yes. Commissioner Cheney?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Sossi?
Yes.
Mayor Beckett?
Yes. Moving on to reports, first to the treasurer's report on city and utility financial aid.
Treasurer's report as of July 31st, 2025. Total city funds, $10,493,359.22. Total utility funds, $10,800,183.04. Total city and utility funds combined, $21,293,502.26. Any questions on the treasurer's report?
Move on to item 5, city administrator's monthly report on departmental activity and budget status.
Yes, Mayor and Council, right now we sit at 83% of the way through the fiscal year. The expense side, we're under that amount. We're about 78.5% in the expenditure total. Revenue totals are, that's misleading. I think I mentioned this every month, just based on when you get your property tax and sales tax receipts. So that's at around 70%. We did pay off or prepay the ambulance like we discussed during the budget sessions, as well as the pumper truck. So for prepaying, we saved $8,865 on the ambulance, and the prepay on the pumper truck saved us $25,456. So the total we saved prepaying was $34,323. So that's taken care of. There was a couple of questions Mary brought up earlier, just regarding if you look through the budgets and have a question. There's one line item in parks under grants that we received after we approved the budget for a playground purchase. So that line item looks kind of blown out of the water, but if you look down on the revenue side, it was reimbursed through the grant side. So we're okay there. And then, so our pool and golf, pool is done for the year. The good news is the revenues were higher than what we had projected. And considering some of the weather that we had, especially getting the thing open, is really good. It's impressive. I think some of the rates are factored into there, that we increased, this year as well. Golf right now, the revenue is exceeding, budget. I think it's right at 100%, with a couple of months left, so golf course is doing really well. And I think some of that is rates, some of that's management, especially the golf inventories, done a great job up there, so that's going well. The departments, are doing a good job in their budgets. Watching some of the line items that always seem to stick out, with vehicle repairs. We've had a few little incidents in the EMS department that we're addressing. We sent some claims in, so we're also wrapping up a lot of the hail damage stuff. Most of the buildings, I believe, are dealt with structures. Marty and I talked a little bit about what that's gonna happen there, some of the options for the vehicles. We had to clean some things up that were not part of their report, and we went back and looked. There was a couple of vehicles that were missing. We went back and showed them what we provided early on in 23 and got those vehicles back as part of the report, so we get those taken care of. Just a reminder, we do have a special council meeting this Thursday, August 21st at 4 o'clock to discuss the budget. Public meeting, so everybody's welcome. We did also receive our certified evaluation, which we will be plugging those numbers into the APA. Airport received theirs as well, so we're winding down. And,
Certified evaluation pretty close to what
it was, yeah, it was really close. Let's see. And I do have it.
One
so I need
close.
it. Yeah, it was close, a little higher than what the real projection was. Pretty close. So. And I do have, Mayor requested, and we can probably go over this more on Thursday, but if anybody wants, just the updated sales tax numbers, from last year to this year, Mary, you asked for that comparison. I think we may have emailed about it. You do need a hard copy of your update as well, just to kind of show you we're on track. I think we'll hit our 2.6 million mark. So, is there any questions?
Just on your last page, Perry.
Yep.
Most everything is done this year.
Yeah.
Already decided would be carryover item.
Yeah, library's ongoing, west side is carried over. I think the killer's done. I believe that's all done with some leftover funds. And then the signage is ongoing as well, but other than that, projects are pretty much cleaned up.
Any questions for Perry on the city administrator's monthly report? Good. At this time, the council will acknowledge receipt of the utility financial report for the period ending June 30th, 2025, and acknowledge receipt of the utility claims for the period ending July 31st, 2025. And the Director John Ward is here. Any questions of the report? Move on to new business. First item would be discussion / action regarding the employee health insurance renewal for homes emergency.
I am on. Can I share my screen?
Yes, turn it up a little bit.
It's Bo's birthday too, by the way.
Happy birthday, Bo.
Come on. That's insider trading. Thank you for that. I'm 57 years old today, which is plenty old enough. It looks like I can't share my screen, so, but that's okay. I'll pull it up on my end. And I'll just reference the page number. Do you have copies to?
The council has copies. Randy's trying to give you permissions here to share.
Okay. Still saying it's disabled.
You can go ahead and start, but we do have the packet if you want to reference the page.
Okay, let's just do that. So let's just jump right into the thick of it. Page 3 of 18 should be basically a spreadsheet that shows The two different Medica plans that we currently have, we currently have what's called the broad network plan, but then we also have a narrow network CHI-based plan that's significantly less expensive to the participant. And so, initially, the renewal came out at about 11.9, and they immediately reduced it to 7, which I called Randy and indicated, 7's pretty good, given, our loss ratio was over the normal limit. But he said, understand, but we have budget cuts in every department this year. We probably need more, if you can get it. And I said, ordinarily, Randy, I would guarantee that I'll go get it. I can't promise you anything this year. It's a difficult year. You're one of 2 single-digit rate increases that we've been able to pass on this year. Most people start out in the mid-20s and you work our tail off to get it below 20. I just got a city out in western Nebraska, which will go unnamed. They just got a stop loss renewal of 105%. A stop loss represents 30% of their total spend, but 105% increase on stop loss gives you some idea of how concerned the reinsurance marketplace is. And it's been a difficult year. So long story short, in the highlighted version of page 3, you'll see that we were able to get it down to 4.9%. With 0 plan changes, no disruption to your people. I think that in and of itself is a very strong outcome. And so it was our recommendation to renew with Medica. They've been a good partner thus far. And I think the participants in the plan like the coverage as well.
Or you should be able to share your screen.
See if I can try. There we go. Okay. Everybody see?
Shows that
There we go. You're not coming through.
Yeah, I can see it up there now. Okay. So you can see the 5%, and I understand budgets are tight across the board this year, and so we,
Can you
yes.
zoom in just a little bit on the document itself? Just so it's
see what I
going
can
on
do.
side to side, it's pretty small.
A little better?
Yeah, it's a better,
There we go. About that.
that's even better.
All right. So this requires 0 plan design changes. It would limit the disruption to the employees of both the city and the utilities. And frankly, that's our recommendation this year. It's still a $90,000 annual increase, which is nothing to sneeze at and understand. That's a lot of money in a small town. And just because the rest of our book of business is getting much larger increases doesn't justify it. But the reality is our claims probably mandated an increase of at least medical trend. Medical trend this year is up to 7.9%, and we're tracking national pharmacy trend at 11.9%. So when you blend those two together with pharmacy accounting for 30% of all claims, we're at probably an 8.5% national trend, or coming in below that. So, all things considered, we feel good about this recommendation, and that's what we brought to the committee. There's a couple of things that we modeled that I wanted to kind of discuss. Currently, we buy the insurance at a $2,000 deductible, And if you can see the screen, we pass on a $750 deductible to the employee. It's our recommendation this year because of the difficulty with the budget. So the city and the utilities have not just the cost of the plan with the premium share, but they're taking on $1,250 per insured risk, up to 2 per family, which is a decent amount of money. Currently, if the HRA runs at 100% loss ratio, which we've never had that happen, knock on wood, it would be an additional $210,000 of responsibility between the city and the utilities. If it runs around 30%, which is where we expect it to, that's an additional $63,000 of liability that the city bears the responsibility for. Our recommendation this year is because of the tightening of the budgets and because of the significance of everything that's going on with healthcare, is to increase the employee deductible to $1,000 from $750. We feel like that's a fair recommendation. Our average deductible across our entire book of business, and we're a regional organization with 16 offices in 12 states, over 1,000 employees. Our book of business average deductible is just north of $1,500. That factors in HSAs, PPOs, etc. So asking the employee to incur an additional $250 does one of two things. Number one, you're not asking every single employee to increase the amount of money deducted out of their paycheck. You are asking the people that have deductible type of insurance claims to bear $250 more. So the people that don't use the plan don't pay more money. The people that are utilizing the plan are asked to pay $250 more, which if they go out and shop the marketplace and they look for other positions, I can promise you, there's not more than a couple of employers in Nebraska City that probably have a deductible as low as $1,000. In fact, I would venture to say none do. So that's still a very competitive medical plan. It benchmarks very favorably. And if you come down here to where we anticipate 30% utilization, it lowers the city's obligation by over $13,000, which cuts into that $90,000 impact. So this was our recommendation as well. Are there any comments or questions at this point before we move on with the rest of the rules?
When does that decision have to be finalized?
Well, we need to make this decision by the end of the month.
Open enrollment.
I'm sorry?
I would say open enrollment is 25th.
Well,
We have an October 1st effective date, so open enrollment's here at the end of the month, early next month. So time's of the essence. We've worked pretty hard to get this. Unfortunately, the last city council meeting we missed by like 3 days when we had our meeting, and so we weren't able to get it in front of you 30 days ago.
Has the board, public works already made a decision on the deductible?
Yes,
Which way is the board?
they moved to go with his recommendation.
On the recommendation. Would Thursday be too late for a city decision if we gave the answer on Friday, because we have another budget meeting on Thursday?
No, I'm happy to wait for that budget decision.
It has budgetary impact, please make sure that's in line with vote on Thursday, so the commissioners will have to.
Friday works great. Our team will be standing in preparation to communicate that the moment that we hear from your team.
All right.
I do think it's a logical offering. A lot of employers tend to try to pass on a 5 to 10% increase per year just so that the employee never gets a surprise, but very few of our employers have been able to maintain a deductible as low as yours. So you know, I feel like as a municipality, $1,000 deductible is justifiable. If any employee were to go to the state exchange, I think the minimum deductible they're looking at individually is $3,500. More than likely, it's north of that. So, and the exchanges are set to receive, we're being told by all the carriers, number one, Aetna's pulling out of the exchange. And the other carriers that are staying in are projecting 30 to 35% increases, not to mention Biden's increase on subsidies up to 400% of the federal poverty levels being reduced back down to the initial communicated subsidy levels of 150% of the federal poverty level. So there's a double whammy coming to the exchange. They're gonna get a bad rate increase this year, and they're also gonna lose a lot of subsidy dollars. So any employer that can maintain this level of a plan with this low of a deductible is gonna be in a position of strength when it comes to recruiting and retaining talent. Randy, can we move forward, do you think? So I'll wait to hear from you on Friday morning after you have your budget meeting Thursday evening, is that correct?
If that's a preference of the council, unless you'd rather. Think about it. Vote on Thursday. Yes, we'll have your answer Friday.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So the rest of the renewals that we have to consider, this is the life insurance and accidental death and dismemberment. We are in a rate guarantee until October 1st of 2027, so there's no change here. The emeritus dental insurance, as you recall, they attempted to pass on about a 9% rate increase last year. We were able to get them to hold that rate increase to 0 last year. So we knew that they would come for a little bit of a bump this year. We haven't had an increase in many years from them. They asked for an 8% renewal, and I said, listen, I knew that you needed an increase this year, but I can't ask them to do 8% given the economic reality. So I asked them to give us a 2-year rate guarantee. So this rate of 8% cannot be increased for 2 full years. Which, however you look at that, it's an 8% this year, it's a 0 next year, or you can look at it blended over 2 years, it's 4% per year. This again is something that we felt good about. Emeritus has been a good partner. They've met us every step of the way, and we've fought them off for several years now. Medical trend after COVID was 9 to 12%, depending on the vendor, the carrier. And we were able to hold everything really steady in terms of the unit costs. You can see we have really good participation on the dental program. And outside of the fact that we've had some dentists stop participating in any dental insurance altogether, Emeritus has done a good job of trying to continue to maintain the depth of their network. So I know this is insult to injury by asking for an 8% increase, but this is the best that we could do this year. I was able to get them to guarantee the rate for the next 2 years, however. And this is largely a voluntary product, and when you look at the grand scheme of it, it's $3 over the course of a month if the employee bears the total cost for it, which I believe the city and the utilities actually contribute a portion towards the dental insurance. Our vision plan is renewed to October 1st of 27 at a 0% increase. They initially asked for a 5%. Told them that wasn't gonna fly. So that's good. Our renewal on the voluntary life, this shows that there's $3,000, $2,700 of more premium per year, but the unit costs here, the age bracketed rates do not change and they're guaranteed. So The only reason the rate goes up is because you have a number of people aging out of, say, the 35 to 39 bracket to the 40 to 44 bracket, if that makes sense. So the increase that is illustrated here are the age increases, not a unit cost increase, and we've got a 2-year rate guarantee on these unit costs, or these age-rated costs. And this is still a really strong contract, guarantee issue of up to $100,000 life insurance. So if someone has, let's say someone's diabetic and they can't buy insurance on their own, they can buy up to $100,000 with no questions asked. So it's a really nice benefit, and the rates are very competitive. Our long-term disability, we got another 2-year rate guarantee on this with no increase. Another benefit that's one of the 4 pillars of employee benefits. This allows people to protect their paycheck long-term. The voluntary short-term disability is a new benefit that's being considered by the utility district and the city. What this does is gives people the option to bridge that gap. We have a 90-day elimination period on our long-term disability. A lot of people can't make it 3 months. They have a lagging paycheck by a week or 2 weeks at the most. And so we've had a number of requests for short-term disability in the past. I think the city and the utility district has kind of self-insured this, so in the effort to kind of cut some costs, we recommended that we make an insured short-term disability policy available that the employee can pay. This comes with a 3-year rate guarantee, and it's 42 cents, 42.2 cents per $10 of benefit. And you can see that they'll pay up to $1,000 per week on $50 increments, 60% of the employee's paycheck. So if somebody makes $4,000 a month, $1,000 a week, that's going to be $600 a week of benefit, and 60 times 0.42 would be their rate. So if you're looking at a $25 premium to insure their paycheck at 60%, beginning on the 8th day for any accident or illness. This covers maternity, this covers off-the-job injury, it covers illness. So this is just an add-on, and because you have life insurance and long-term disability with Lincoln Financial, they gave us a composite rate, so we don't have to worry about those age rates. So a 42-cent rate is very, very competitive, and they're giving us a 3-year rate guarantee on it. So this will require action ultimately by the council, so this might be part of that budget committee meeting too. I don't have a lot of data for you on how much the city or the utility district has spent on maternity or on paid leave during this type of tenure, like a 7-day to the 90-day before that long-term disability kicks in. I'm guessing you had some information on that. It would be my recommendation that you evaluate that, but after this was brought to our attention, we recommended offering an insured product here. I think it's highly effective. I think employees will value it tremendously, and when they consider the cost, anyone who's in like a married couple that's in childbearing years, they're gonna buy this without a second thought. It basically guarantees them a maternity leave. Randy or Mona or anyone else that is present, I'm sorry I'm not there to see everybody's face, but do you want me to add any other commentary? I mean, this is really based on W-2 earnings.
Unless the commissioners have questions for you.
Okay. Can this be something that you report back to me on by Friday as well?
This one's employee based. I'm expecting some kind of a motion tonight with the only hanging issue would be the deductible letter.
Okay, so this is something that we can kind of prepare for and build into the employee communications as a voluntary offering.
Yeah, I believe that this will, approving your recommendation on implementing this will be part of the motion tonight, yes.
Okay. I do think this solves a problem. It kind of closes the loop on an open-ended liability, and I think it can help you as you're recruiting new talent to explain, here's what our offerings are regarding any type of maternity leave, disability, etc.
Okay.
Okay. The HSA, or the HRA rather, the COBRA and the Flexible Spending Account Administration remains at $450 per employee per month. Things have smoothed out considerably to the point where both committees felt like retaining point C as the administrator was the logical decision.
Okay.
And that's it, in terms of, the employee benefits program. As you indicated, really the decision comes down to, right here, are we gonna modify the employee deductible in the HRA? It saves the city and the utility district a small amount of money, but it keeps the employee accountability, it keeps it in alignment, in my opinion. $750 is one of the richest deductibles that we have in our entire book of business. And if the decision is to retain that and point to that, that's fine. I know budgets are really tight though, and I think this is a fair ask. Are there any other questions from me? For me?
Question from utilities. So from the city, the recommendation is to, continue with Medicare. We'll have a decision on deductible, which will be Thursday. Life and accidental death, there's no change there, so we'll continue forward. Dental benefit, there's really no decision there, it's just the price.
The 2-year guarantee.
Yep. And the same with vision, so we're obviously going to those. Really, the only thing is that we continue with Medica and we add in voluntary short-term disability. And that's the staff recommendation.
Need a motion?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Unless somebody has a question for Will.
All right, I would move to approve the ancillary renewals, the addition of the voluntary short-term disability, retention of the HRA, FSA, administrator, with a decision to be made on deductible deletion.
Motion is second, any discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cheney,
Yes.
Commissioner Sumner,
Yes.
Commissioner Whalen,
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp,
Yes.
Mayor Beckett.
Yes. Thank you both, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you. We appreciate the opportunity to work with the city and the utilities. This is always a difficult deal, and it's getting more difficult by the year with the cost of pharmacy. So, anything that we can do to try to assist, and earn that loyalty that you've shown us, we really, really appreciate it. So thank you for the business. We'll wait to hear on your decision on the employee deductible. So thank you.
All right, thank you.
There you go, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Move on to item 9, which is discussion such action regarding the Cargill order. We met with Cargill again today. Had a recommendation, Commissioner Cheney, we're working on now is to offset those meetings the week prior, so we can give the commissioners a heads up on how those meetings are going ahead of the council. Met with Dave Meyer, the local plant manager. So they're continuing to focus on the system, and focus on the pH levels. They're rising that, they need to get it risen a little bit more. They are seeing some biogas, production and increase in that. They've raised the water in the aerobic lagoon in order to take some of the pressure off of the anaerobic lagoon. They're continuing to add a quad kill and neutralizer. And they are, right now they've paused on the Skylar sludge, so they're not bringing sludge down from Skylar anymore because they're seeing the increases. And they're working on making sure to get the quad out of the old sludge. They're working and looking at putting in some recirculating pump capability into the old sludge to modestly mix up that sludge so they can get to, some of the quad, but it's a delicate balance. It's going to be very, modest so that they don't introduce more hidden quad into the system. So they'll be doing that fairly modestly and seeing how they can do that. They're gonna keep going with the current path. They are right now not considering the tarp removal. That is always an option, but that's considered an extreme option. Long term, they are still looking at an entire system revamp. Their priority is currently as a backup to getting this system back up fully functioning and making sure that they keep their balance, their chemicals quad free. As far as this is the hot time of the year, as they go in further in the year, their system on working to keep the temperature right by injecting steam into the lift station is working. Today we asked them if they could possibly find a means to test the quad levels that's coming out of their system before it gets to us. The only other report from them, there's an update on one of the meetings, we were providing a picture of a manhole cover that was rusting, that is down wastewater stream from Cargill. Utilities investigated that on some of our manholes. We have to put rubber diaphragms under them in order to catch storm water so it doesn't go down through the manhole. This manhole had one of those diaphragms on it, but it was a fairly deep one. So the water was staying in and not evaporating off. That's what was causing the rust, not something coming up. Those diaphragms also keep smell from coming out the other way. So the utilities put in a more shallow system, and yeah, there's pictures of the diaphragm that were put in there. So we believe that will be reduced, but that was not caused by being downstream, if you will, from Cargill. Anything I missed, Barry, John?
If you were to look in the manhole, there's quite a gap between where that rust would have taken place and where the sewage actually runs, so it would be quite deep if you left that high to rust that manhole. Or the cover, excuse me.
Was descending the bowling alley, which is storm sewer wise downstream. We'll continue the meetings with Cargill. And anecdotally, I believe the smell's gotten better, but I don't know that's 100% on their end. That could be atmospheric, weather, change in wind direction and all that, but they're continuing to work on it and seeing good signs. Out of one, they're monitoring, but the system is under contractors that are working. No. Is there anybody here that would like to ask a question, make a point, or revisit something that we discussed in the past? Okay. We'll now move on to item 10, discussion/action to approve the placement of a bench along the bike trail with concrete pad and flowers, being trained by small beginnings.
Good evening, my name is Gina Simrall, with 2014 Fourth Avenue, Nebraska City. So, you guys have my information, right?
Is that like? It's not true.
I thought it was weird. Sure. Right, is that better?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So, I did bring, the certificate of liability insurance. I didn't know if you wanted a copy. The gentleman that we're gonna have do the concrete pad, if it is accepted. Yes. So our idea was we've been collecting plastic for the city, for Keep Nebraska City Beautiful, and we earned a bench, and so we were thinking about putting the bench, it's in memory of Liam Flowers, and we would like to have it on the bike trail. I believe you have some pictures, and I just went out there and took some pictures of kind of where the area is, and that's, obviously we can discuss, if that's not okay, but that's where we would like to place it with the pollinator garden. And we just want to inspire people to love like Liam. We want to inspire a community to slow down and remember Liam and his family. We want people to be aware and in the present moment. We will be asking for donations to pay for the concrete pad. But otherwise, Dave is going to install it for us. He's not gonna charge us. And then we will do the upkeep for the pollinator garden and plant that, if that's okay. I know I heard that there might be some trees planted back there, so. Do you have any questions, or?
No questions, but we're gonna need exact dimensions, how big,
Okay,
and exact spot, and all that.
okay,
So, I think tonight, the best we can do is prove it in theory, but it's gonna have to come down to probably a commissioner and staff, like Marty's approval, as to the final size, location, and all of that, those type.
okay. In the letter, I did include, the size of the concrete pad and then the dimensions of the bench. So you guys should have that on your end.
I had that, and that's all that, it was just your idea for the garden, how it's gonna be.
Oh, yes, okay,
And then an exact location, abutting, immediately abutting, or a few feet away, all those kind of things have to be
okay,
synced in and all that.
okay,
And how we're gonna get in there and do the work
yes, yes,
on brand new trail.
yes.
That would be probably an approval to proceed, but with, follow up with the city on exact dimensions, locations.
Okay.
I will motion that we approve proceedings for the bench along the bike trail and the concrete pad with flowers to be maintained by small beginnings and with, council or approval by construction manager for further information on the garden.
I'll second.
Motion is second, further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Whalen?
Yes.
Commissioner Sosby?
Yes.
Commissioner Cheney?
Yes.
Mayor Beckett?
Yes.
Thank you, Jen, good luck, Thank you, small beginnings.
Thank you.
Item 11, discussion slash action to close 8th Street between the alley and First Corso, as well as the alley running from 8th to 9th Street on August 29th, 2025 for an evening of worship from 5 p.m. with the conclusion of the event. The conclusion.
To the conclusion, my name is Jeff Lance, 5362 M Road. Do you have any questions on the request or what it's about?
Have you talked with businesses around? They know it's coming?
I have not talked to businesses, no.
And we've already got the memorial building?
Yes, the Memorial Building's been secured, they've offered the building to us, the parking lot. And we've been agreeing, we've got the ability to be inside. In addition to this, if it's okay to ask, it was brought to my attention after the fact, as part of any motion on this, would it be possible to ask for up to, I would assume less than 10 picnic tables if they were available from the city? I don't know how many we might want, it's not something that I thought of at the time of this request, but I just asked for that as a potential piece of possible.
I'll motion to approve the action of closing the street between the alley and First Corso as well as alley 8th to 9th Street on August 29th, 2025 for an evening of worship from 5 p.m. to the conclusion of the event, and for the city to provide picnic tables for the event.
Motion is second, further discussion. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Osowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp,
Yes.
Commissioner Whalen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cheney,
Yes.
Mayor Beckett.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff. You have a great one.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Item 12, discussion such action to approve the SDL application for Western Pines Bed and Breakfast for December 20th and 21st, 2025. I believe this is an extension. We approved the 20th prior, but now this covers on the 21st. Matinee.
I'll motion to approve the SDLA application from Whispering Pines Bed and Breakfast for December 20th and 21st, 2025.
I'll second.
Motion is second, further discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Whalen,
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp,
Yes.
Commissioner Osowski,
Yes.
Commissioner Cheney,
Yes.
Mayor Beckett.
Yes. Item 13, discussion slash action regarding the agreement with terminal order of police negotiations. Final action will be brought to the body as for ratification once their union membership ratifies and be ratified and become a solid agreement. We met twice on negotiations. We're waiting for the cleaned up copy to come back from Afro Peace Council, and we haven't got the full clean copy. But the highlights I've written, there were only a few articles that they all brought forward for negotiation this year. The first one was Article 8, employee rights. They wanted to extend, and we tentatively agreed to have ratification for an employee to be able to live within 60 miles of one that's in Nebraska City and they're in Nebraska. Shift bidding, Article 13, had been kind of convoluted with a lot of details on how to go about it, but when you go to management rights, the chief has to approve the shifting anyway. So we deleted a lot of the detailed stuff on that and just made sure that the shift periods would still stay January, May, and September on the Sunday, whichever's first. Overtime and callback, that is the big one that we looked at. I know there's been some departments that have asked Barry for it before, but they came to us with this to build comp time and do of overtime. And we agreed to that. They originally asked for 100 hours max, but we counted them 45 and then said it made sense to be at 45 because you're on the hours in that ratio. Agreed to start us to comp time for in lieu of full time. That would be an employee's choice to do that and a cap of 45 hours. Vacation leave, we're going to mirror the table that's in the personnel manual because it's a lot easier more easily understood. There was no increase in the rate of accrual or the maxes, which are a little higher than typical city employee. It's a little higher for the FOP. And that the only real restriction is, it's apparent, we moved the 1 year requirement to have before you can start taking leave to now you just, there is no mention in there, but it's pretty apparent that you can't take leave while you're in the academy. Sick leave, they wanted to keep the same, but also add that you could do donations to an employee who's exhausted all sick leave, not only just for sick leave itself, but if they're caring for an immediate family member. Under wages, they asked for a 4% COLA from them on negotiations, but we came back and said that I was hoping to give a final to them, but told them we're having our meeting Thursday. And when they go as low as 2%, we're giving our last 3%, but we might drop that. And when they came back, they agreed that they would take the citywide COLA, as long as it wasn't below 2%. They also put in there that they wanted to add the chief and captain's position to the facility passes. When I questioned putting a non-bargaining unit requirement in the bargaining unit document, the council said, well, it has to do with future employment if they were promoted in one of those positions. So that's why they were out. I said, okay. After conferring with Commissioner Wellington, that he was okay with me to at least tentatively agree to it prior to ratification, I agreed to.
See where it goes. I agree.
The last was on the terms. It is a 2-year contract, except for Article 32 does come back for negotiation next year for wages only for the 26-27 wage year. And that's what the cleanup copy will be bringing back to you. If there's any questions, concerns?
Overtime and comp, that's officer discretion, right, for the,
Yes, we can.
so you don't really know budget.
Right, management can't dictate comment with it.
So we just don't really know if that's exempt from budget savings. You know, like we're looking.
I guess I understand.
If they take comp instead of overtime, not paying overtime. So that,
Well, it would still, right now, we could get a wash. For each officer, we have 100 hours right now budgeted.
Right.
What we give the chief target to do that. If the officer say, no, I want to take it all. But if they separated, we'd have to pay it out if they have 45 hours. Is that answer your question?
I think so.
So if they built up their 45 comp, they'd still be at 55 hours a week. Okay. Now, of course, the agreement, they said, either the first meeting or the second meeting of September, you'll have it in advance, clean up copy for us to ratify as well. Have they ratified the chief, you know?
No, I don't believe so. Other than vacation.
All right. Anything else, Commissioner, on that? Okay, item 14, discussion session regarding the request to hand celebration banners from Arbor Day to July 4th, 2026 by the 250 committee.
Hello, Lisa Walker, address 2110 Fifth Avenue, and I am here to ask for permission to hang banners, as it says, from Arbor Day to the 4th of July to celebrate America's 250th celebration, anniversary, birthday, whatever you want to call it. And we would like those at the 4 main entrances to the city. And we plan to come up with a design with the logo. We would get that approved by city and street department, as well as any requirements that we need to ensure that the banners are staying where they should and not getting tangled up with wires, etc.
Can you back up a minute for me and enlighten folks on the 250 committee, who all it is, and how it's formed, and what's going on?
Oh, well, I invited myself, and, you know, I'm here
And then you got tagged.
most times, so I thought I would bring this to you all. The committee, I think, was kind of created by Laura Steinman. I will list list who's on the record here, Tammy Parch, Jim Kuhn, Carrie Godsey, Daryl Steinman, Lucille Sharp, and Sarah Crook is the committee and myself. I don't know, we just had our first meeting on August 5th, so I don't know how far in advance things are going, but August 5th, let's say that was this first date we all met.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't have a final design yet because you need all the emblems and all the paperwork.
Yeah, so, obviously, the United States has a logo, America 250. We plan, as of right now, I think the plan is for our Nebraska City logo to take a tree slice with the rings and then put America 250 in the middle of it and then Nebraska City underneath it. Something along those lines is the quote logo. We plan to have events, I think even starting as early as January, kind of bringing in schools, bringing in community events, which obviously if we need permission, we'll bring that to you as well. But as of right now, we just wanted to kind of get the design work and the permission for the signage, as I said, at the entrances of the town.
How large are you looking at?
We're gonna get those from Mr. Marty.
Gonna have to be another one, can you final design?
I mean, are these like Christmas decoration size, or are we looking at?
That's what their hope is, but we'll be bringing back the design and an agreed upon material that would work. Just a regular standard banner material that will not work. So they'll be coming back to show us the design and we come to terms on something that would work.
I believe, we're going to try to get some grants to help, because we need money to do some of this, so I think the idea was to get the permission so we could start applying for grants, but we can definitely start working on the design and get all the requirements and bring it back for your approval.
At least have to know that before you go for grants, that we'll let you have that.
Yes,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
Motion to approve the request to hang celebration banner from Arbor Day, July 4th, 2026. Is fine. 250 committee gets the material and design approval by Susan House.
Motion is second, further discussion?
Commissioner Sossi?
Yes.
Commissioner Whalen?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Cheney?
Yes.
Mayor Beckett?
Yes. Thank you, Lisa, for representing.
My pleasure.
Committee, no, if they need to fill it out, please give us a call.
Thank you.
Item 15, discussion such action to approve a grant application from the Morton County Public Library for funding of the West Side project.
Evening. Donna Cruz, 1312-647 Library Director. I am here to notify council that we will be applying for grants to help fund the West Side project, construction project. Up to about $80,000, we think is gonna cover what we need to collect.
And what, do we have an opinion of cost on the whole project yet?
$251,310. Construction plus.
I'll make a motion to allow the library to seek grant applications for the West Side funding, for the West Side project.
Second. Motion is second, further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Cheney?
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Whalen?
Yes.
Commissioner Sossi?
Yes.
Mayor Beckett?
Yes. Thank you, Don.
Thank you for your support.
Item 16, discussion such action to approve the Board of Public Works recommendation to award bid for primary clarifier improvements project bid to Judd Brothers Construction Lincoln in the amount of $1,353,600.
John Ward, General Manager, Nebraska Utilities. So this is a part of our larger wastewater treatment improvement project. When we were initially looking at the whole project, the primary clarifiers came forward as kind of something that we needed to do maybe before, the rest of the project, rather than wait for the rest of the project, let's get this going ahead of time. We went out for bid, JDO is our engineer, for this project. They were on site, and we had a very competitive, group of bids. We had 5 bidders. The bids were all very competitive. Judge Brothers was the lowest bid, and JDO has a lot of experience working with them, and it was their recommendation that we go forward with, Judge Brothers Construction out of Lincoln with their base bid and their first bid also.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the Board of Public Works recommendation to award the bid for the primary clarifier improvement project to Judd Brothers Construction Company of Lincoln in the amount of $1,353,600.
I'll second. Motion is second, further discussion.
Commissioner Cheney,
Yes.
Commissioner Whalen,
Yes.
Commissioner Sharp,
Yes.
Commissioner Osowski,
Yes.
Mayor Beckett.
Yes. Thank you, John. Item 17, discussion slash action regarding the hunting lease on the city property north of the transfer station. Fine. That lease expired, I understand it's.
Marty Stovall, construction facility manager. Yes, so the current lease, expired August 6th. We were headed towards some breaking ground in the fall and didn't know how that was gonna align with Good Life Agriculture out there for their project. So we kind of just let it lapse, but we're still not there. I believe Justin Walters is on. I think he was trying, this was his request to, present to the council a proposal. Good Life Ag, sent some correspondence today that they had some concerns of this hunting lease, that, they would kind of make the city whole on whatever money we would be losing out on, but just due to concerns of, liability issues and, during construction. And so, again, I believe Justin's on here to kind of pitch his side. However, I did talk to all parties, today, and, it could be a situation if we did honor the hunting lease, his stuff's still out there right now, that, we could write it up as such as, this lease goes away when we do break ground. So if they would break ground, we just, there's no void beyond that point, and eliminate any concerns of liabilities out there. If we would do something like that, I'd like to just exclude the west 50 feet of the city's property on the north-south line to, have access for any due diligence that Good Life Ag is still doing, coordinating through me to access, the city and Good Life Ag to still access whether a future, proposed route for their new water line in Wells, out to the north. But there's just a lot of moving parts with that. So I guess I don't wanna speak on his behalf, this is his, but I would answer any questions.
There's no renewables on this lease.
No, it's expired, so this would be new, council's decision that if we would enter this lease agreement, just the west line of 50 feet of access, and, just terminated, if construction begins, so I'll let him talk.
Yep.
I'll answer any questions.
Go ahead, Justin.
Hi there, Justin Walters, 1719 North 10th Street, Nebraska City, Nebraska. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so, the lease is expiring in August, and I reached out to Marty and, Mayor, trying to, just get some direction on it and what the, consensus might be on what we might wanna do or not do. And then I talked to Marty this morning about it, and he explained the situation. with Good Life and everything, and he asked how I felt about certain things, and you know, my stuff's still out there right now because I've been waiting for an answer to hear back. I'm totally fine with, you know, hey, if they start breaking ground to take the city's liability out of the equation, the lease would just become null and void at that point with a prorated portion. I proposed to, in an email, to raise the lease to $3,000 this year and just go from there. It's worked out so far, but I understand the opportunity with the Good Life. So if they would start to break ground, the lease would just go away and that'd be the end of it.
We probably have to make sure that we have the lease agreement as current lease agreement, rewritten obviously on the recommendations of what Marty gave, and then have you review those also. I'd make the recommendation, I'll move to,
The current lease agreement, but accepting the price without putting it out for anybody else to bid, or just removing it, or
I'm okay with just renewing it with the price that Mr. Walters has, proposed. How does everyone else feel about that?
it hasn't been without issue.
For sure.
But at least with the increase in price, we previously probably weren't making any profit on what we were spending on legal fees. I don't know if things have settled down with the rest of the requests on the other properties to the north. Is there any activity on that party?
Mr. Mayor, not as of late, so there has been a, access agreement drafted for a neighbor out there, but it's never been, fully executed or whatever.
Okay, so if we went this route, this new easement would be solely for the purposes of due diligence associated with the Good Life project.
Correct.
It wouldn't be an open
Well-
easement for anybody to use.
No, not unless it, you know, I feel like that's obviously still city property and not under lease, you know. So if the city would say, you know, this other agreement, this access agreement was written to be 8 feet on the west property line, but it's never been executed. But I feel as if the council was needing to, you know, entertain that, then, you know, it's still, still not under that hunting lease. But the 50 feet that I'm proposing is just so Good Life Ag can get back and forth and do things they need.
The previous lease didn't have the 8 feet.
No.
I'm just concerned that if we put the 8 feet in there, then notification, we have the same liability unless there's some notification back and forth. So we might have due diligence going on at the same time as hunting.
Well, that's where I feel as if, you know, Justin's been out there a while. I mean, he's good when, you know, if I know Good Life needs to be out there, I can certainly coordinate that. You know, get maybe too many cooks in the kitchen, you know, I mean, it can be standard that you have to, just like the tower, you have to kind of check in to go to the tower, you have to check in, so we can coordinate that, you know, there's no issue that way with hunting lease and out there doing some work. So.
Any other questions?
Okay, if he pays, and then, let's say this only goes a month or so, you know, then, what's he out to $3,000 to do reimbursement?
I feel as if we would just write it up as prorated.
Yeah.
Just in my notes, you know, if we would, just the 50 feet on the west line and prorated, void upon, you know, start of construction would kind of be something that needs to be included in the lease.
one-year lease?
Correct.
Back
August sixth.
August 6th. Yep.
So, the way I feel, I think we wanna move forward with this, but we wanna make sure the lease has been rewritten with the new terms and reviewed by your.
Correct.
I'll motion to move forward with the hunting lease on city property north of the transfer station with a written lease and approval and review by, Drew.
I'll second.
Motion is second for discussion. I believe the amount was 3,000.
Correct.
Any other discussion?
We want the roads to stay as Keels versus Briggs Ground.
Yes.
Terminates.
It terminates.
Pay back prorated. Any others? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Whalen?
Yes.
Commissioner Osowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Cheney?
Yes.
Mayor Knight?
Yes, Justin, thank you for calling in tonight. I know it's been a hassle sometimes, but thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening.
Item 18, discussion / action regarding the FY 25-26 budget. Anything for tonight?
Yeah, as mentioned before, we have a meeting on Thursday. Katie and I met a little bit this morning, we're gonna meet again tomorrow. Just kind of look at where we're at in the current budget, if there's, anything we could do more on the revenue side, if there's anything that we looked, or we definitely don't wanna get too aggressive. We do have some bright spots in it that, we were pretty conservative with. If we make any changes, we'll send out a draft. We'd like to get a draft to the council tomorrow afternoon for your review, and any changes identified in that, let you know. We think you guys, I can't even remember the last draft you guys have even looked at. But for now, we have a version where we're zeroed out, maybe more property tax. So that's where we're at. That number, how much we look for property tax, will be debated obviously, but, we'll try, like I said, we'll try and get that out to you guys, and then Friday morning, we'll update the APA, see how it's looking with the draft. We somewhat agreed on Thursday, so that's.
Okay, because we have to come over Thursday with the levy ask solid. Because we have to have a public hearing on September 2nd.
Correct.
So that we can meet all the levy finalists for the budget.
Correct.
Anything else on budget, commissioners? Foreseeable. Okay, item 19, resolution 2997-25, 1% growth for the FY 25-26 budget. This is what some legislators might tell you is a legacy requirement because the lid on property taxes changed. I don't have enough confidence that things in the legislature are gonna stay the same. This 1% has to do with our basis for allowable growth. I know the growth limits have changed and all that, but being this is the first year that it's changed, but they're still gonna come back and address it again in the legislature. I recommend we leave this in here. That way, if they come back and they say, well, you didn't adjust your basis, it's like, well, it wasn't required on the APA forms anymore. At least we haven't done it, in case it comes up in the future. This doesn't mean we're increasing the budget to 1%, it's, we're increasing our allowable growth under what's considered legacy. Property tax allowable growth in the APA ones. Does that make sense? So I've left this resolution in, Katie and
Nebraska Revised Statute 13-519, the city of Nebraska City is limited to increasing its total of budgeted restricted funds by no more than the prior year's total of budgeted restricted funds, plus population growth, or 2.5% expressed in dollars, and whereas section 13-519 authorizes the city of Nebraska City to exceed the foregoing budget limit for a fiscal year by an additional 1% increase in budgeted restricted funds limited upon affirmative vote of at least 75% of the governing body. And whereas the annual budget for fiscal year 25-26 and program for municipal services in the lid computation fiscal year 2025-2026, supported by the detail relating to restricted revenue accounts, proposes an additional increase in budgeted restricted funds of 1% as provided by the statute. And whereas approval of the additional 1% increase in budgeted restricted funds is prudent fiscal management, does not increase authorized expenditures, and is in the best interest of the city of Nebraska City and its citizens. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and board of commissioners of the city of Nebraska City, Nebraska, that by an affirmative vote by more than 75% of the board of commissioners, budgeted restricted funds limit for fiscal year 2025-2026 shall be increased by an additional 1% as provided by Nebraska Revised Statute, section 13-519.
And as I said, revised 13-519 has been revised. I feel more comfortable having this in the report. So I'll move for passage 2097-225 with 1% growth for the FY 25-26 budget.
Second.
Motion is second, further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Sharp?
Yes.
Commissioner Osowski?
Yes.
Commissioner Cheney?
Yes.
Commissioner Whalen?
Yes.
Mayor Beckett?